You're here.
I know. I was sitting there and I was like, Instagram, come on.
I know we have quite a few people that have already joined, and they've probably just been watching me saying, "Oh, just keep adding Sarah in any second." Oh,
I'm here. Hello, everyone. Oh, I see.
wow.
I see some
Grand,
beautiful.
I said you made your grand entrance. Sorry, everyone's
Oh, yes, yes. I mean,
this up for
exactly, exactly. You always have to make a grand entrance. That's the most important thing.
for sure. I guess I just wanted to welcome everyone who's joined so far. I'm sure a few
Yes,
people are going to be coming in. Today's event is, we've titled it The Secret Behind Sold Out Events, right? The Instagram
yes.
edition. But before we jump into all that, Sarah, I feel like this has been such a long time coming.
I know. I know. We need to tell everyone on how we met.
Yeah,
All behind. It's a crazy story, you guys. You all have to stay tuned for this. Do you
for,
want do you want to tell it or you want me
I
to?
can start off. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry for everyone who joined to, talk about Instagram strategy. You're going to hear about mine and Sarah's life for the beginning of this. But yeah, part of it starts with we're both digital nomads. Um, I've been traveling around the world for a few years now, living kind of place to place, doing my thing, exploring, and you have too. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, this goes back to the poll that I put out there, which is I found myself in Croatia, which is a beautiful place. So
Oh
for
my God, so pretty.
anyone who
So
we definitely have a ton of recommendations. So let us know. And it was coming close to the end actually of my trip, and I get a Facebook message from you, Sarah. Yeah, saying, "Hey, I think we went to the same college." And I was like, "This is so wonderful,
so random.
so random." I feel like my husband was the one who was always on WhatsApp groups, gathering people together, and I'm like just joining along for the ride. And I was like, "This girl seems awesome." And then the
Hi.
thing that I want to say to everybody who has joined, my next step was to go and see who Sarah Prentice is on Instagram. And it took me to watch one video where I was like, oh my God,
Oh,
her,
really? I didn't know about this part.
yeah,
What?
I keep some secrets. I was like, oh my God, her energy blows
Thank
me away.
you.
And so, yeah, we met in Split, Croatia. It's
We
been
did. It's
over,
been like almost a year. No, almost a year because it was in May when
yeah,
I went to Split, but it was right when I arrived. So you were leaving Croatia when I was arriving. So
yeah,
yeah,
that worked out perfectly
yeah,
because
because we got to meet.
I know, and you're the most incredible human, which
Thanks.
is the best way to introduce you to everyone
Uh,
in the community because I feel like I kind of get you to myself. Um, I'm ready to share it with everyone else. So,
yeah,
Sarah, just like, introduce yourself. Um,
yeah, of
what
course.
are you doing? And have everyone fall in love with you the way that I
Oh, stop. I'm the same exact way, by the way, about Vicky. If you guys are watching and wondering who Vicky Victoria is. Um, so yeah, just to go on that, as you can tell, I'm very familiar with social media. So I'm a part of a bunch of Facebook groups when I'm traveling. And to give my side of the story, I saw you posted something on like one of the Facebook groups about Croatia that we were both in. And so I clicked on her name and it said she went to the same college as me. So, of course, I wanted to meet a digital nomad and we have the same interests of, going to the same college in New York City. So I just reached out to her. And this is the importance of social media. You can connect with anyone, doesn't matter where in the world you are. We are so blessed to be living in a day like this. And now Vicky and I have been not only friends, but we have been working with each other and met incredible. It's been incredible. So I'm a social media marketer. I specialize in Instagram marketing. And what I do is I help small businesses attract clients and I convert them into paying clients. So that is the simplest way I can put it. And we are coming on this live today to, thank you, Michael. By the way, I need to give a shout out to Michael. I had a consultation call with him. He is a TikTok marketer, and I discovered him on a podcast. I've only had one consultation call so far, and I've recommended him to a bunch of people. He has helped me really. I'm studying TikTok marketing. He has helped me so much. So if you see him in the comments right now, it's Michael Dark Consulting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about Michael.
Amazing, amazing, amazing human.
But I feel like I basically do. So, sounds like Sarah's a legend, but you are too, because you've come up and
yeah, I had to give a shout out when I saw he was on. I was like, okay, I have to say something. Anyway, yeah, I definitely got so distracted. So I help small businesses really grow and make connections on Instagram and help them create a strategy that will work. So that is what I do. And now we are on this Instagram live to really help not only retreat leaders can benefit from this, but event. If you are creating any type of event, like stay tuned. We're going to give some free tips, and it is, I'm excited.
For sure. And so maybe we jump right in, because you mentioned a few things which are interesting, right? Which is somebody can go in and they're looking to convert a client. So, we're not talking about social media generally today. We're also specifically talking about social media sales, which is a unique pillar. And so the first topic that we wanted to cover was around, marketing mindset, social media mindset. And so it's a little bit different than, so for me personally, for those who know, I have my business account.
Yeah.
I also have my personal account. I feel like I thrive off of, I wake up in the morning and it's like, here's what I'm eating for breakfast, and here's what I'm doing here. And there's no set, I'm not looking to convert anyone. I'm just trying to show hey,
trying. Yeah.
Trisha, I'm alive. Life's good. Right. But then on my business account, the way that I put out content is way more structured, strategic. And so when I'm working with a lot of clients, Sarah, what tends to come up is there's a group of people who feel energized by social media. And then there's a group of people that come to me and they're like, this is so hard.
Yeah.
And putting together the captions, and it sometimes takes away from, the experience of it. And so a lot of it, we've talked about this a lot, comes down to the mindset behind social media. And so maybe just broadly talk about what that is and maybe some tips for people.
Yeah, so this was something I really wanted to touch up on, because I understand what you're going through, where you're like, oh, I have to be on social media all the time. And it's just a mindset switch. So if you're running a company, most companies, they need to be on social media, because this is the present and the future. Right. So for your mindset, before you hire on a social media marketer, before you jump into the social media just world, it first always comes with mindset. You have to think, me trying to build my Twitter. I'm reading the comments. Okay. But first you have to think, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to stay consistent, and I have to change my mindset of what I think of social media. You have to start thinking, this platform, Instagram, for example, will help me sell. So since that is in my mind now, I will now utilize that when I show up. So you're not going to be able to sell if you go on Instagram and you just never want to show up. That is something I really hope to, before you start your retreat, before you start planning, you have to realize social media is not, of course it can be used for bad. Of course anything can be used for bad, but you're using it for good. You are offering something that could help someone. So if you are planning an event, you're planning a retreat, that event and that retreat is going to transform someone else. So you have to put that in your mind. The reason why you're showing up on social media is not for anything for you, but it's for someone else.
Right. And so one of the things that you highlighted that I maybe want to like underline
Yeah.
a million times is goal setting.
Yes.
Understanding like, okay, here's the mission. And so I'm going to put content out there, or, we'll talk about the specifics, but I'm going to show up because my goal is to bring this retreat or this event right out there into the world. And I totally agree. By already setting the stage, you
Hmm.
know what you're working towards. And the beauty is, and we talk about this a lot, is there's a deadline, right? It's
Hmm.
almost you're working towards achieving this thing. And that can be a retreat, right? Or it can be working towards, I don't know, scaling your newsletter to this.
Exactly.
Just setting a number and setting a goal, like I'm looking to sell 10 tickets, or I'm looking to grow my email list from 300 to 500. It really helps ground you and show progress.
Yeah.
Then it's like I'm just showing up and what's happening, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that, Sarah. Okay, so this is
I love what you said too. That's exactly what.
this
Exactly.
perfect way to start. But we also initially were discussing, you're a genius in many social media platforms, but today we're talking about Instagram. And
Yes.
so specifically focusing on why Instagram is really important for event sales and for retreat leaders.
Yes. So you have to realize each platform, each social media platform is so the, the reason you're on it is for different reasons. So, for example, Instagram is more like an engaging platform. It is a platform where, if I'm telling you, I want to make this clear. Like, it doesn't. If I'm telling you to be on Instagram, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be on other ones. The reason why you're on Instagram is to engage with others. So, it is a great platform to not only display what your event or retreat has, but it's also a way that you can make connections. So you can, what I do as a marketer is I find people that and attract them to your page that would really want to join your retreat or your event. And I create relationships with them. So make sure you're always, if someone is sending you a message in your DMs, make sure you are always answering it. And make sure when you are posting, you are displaying what your retreat is about. So it's a great platform to not only show, like just to like reword it, to show what you do, but also to create the connections.
Okay. And so maybe a follow-up, because we do hear, this is like very specific, I'll say, to
Yeah,
the retreat world and event sales, but back in
yeah,
the day, people were in like Facebook groups, right? And this is
yeah.
all that I'll bridge to show that it's also having to be present with the times. And that being said, sometimes I'm like, Sarah, I'm too old for this. And you're like, I'm not learning. But the reason why I want to, focus on this is today, really, a company invests in a certain platform and it grows.
Yeah,
They make the decision, right? We're kind of at the whim of the company of what they want to invest in. And I'm going to put myself out there and say, Facebook groups used to be a big thing. And yes, they still exist. And, there's huge benefit for them. And I always have my clients be in groups and communicate there.
yeah.
You almost feel like, okay, Facebook isn't really investing as much in Facebook groups anymore, right? It's pivoting. And so we have to be with the times. Like if we're going to still try to show up in a platform and maybe a subsection of a platform that isn't converting as well, and that the people that you want aren't there anymore. And this can be from a topic perspective, but maybe also the age demographic, right? If you're looking to host a
Hmm.
retreat is somebody between the ages of like 20 or 30, there's statistics out there that'll tell you where they're showing up.
Exactly. And that's why, just to touch on the point I said before, that's why you have to know, number one, your demographic, who you're targeting, but you have to know which platform would serve you best.
Right.
So of course, we met through Facebook, a Facebook page. not page, but like a group.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I think Facebook groups can be so helpful. I am not saying that, but I do think Instagram is like a great platform to, because it's somewhere, it's like kind of like a website, like in a way, the social media of a website, just like how a Facebook page is. And a lot of the people on Instagram are going to be, you know, their 20s and 30s. And then when you go on Facebook, you know, they're going to be more like older, like 50s and 60s. And it really depends on what you're trying to target. So that was a great point.
Yeah. So knowing your client, and this is kind of step one of the foundations, even like any event or retreat planning, is figure out who that person is, what voice you want to communicate, and then what the ideal platform to do that is going to be. And so we've solidified, today we're talking about Instagram.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is have this platform available, but it's on us to show up. And I was asking the same question of like, you know, is there an algorithm? Like, is it 5 posts to 1 story? Like, you know, what is it that we're doing?
Like, what is the secret?
Exactly. How do I get
me? Okay, well, if you're gonna ask Instagram, I think this was very recent that they came out with this thought that you should be posting 3 times a day, which to me is insane. So what I tell people is just to stay consistent. So if you can, of course, like do not just post once every few weeks. How is that going to convert? But if you are able to make a schedule like, okay, I'm going to post 5 times a week or 3 times a week, whatever, you have to be you have to understand what is going to, you know, what is going to help. Like, how much time do you have? Like, how much time do you have in your life to create these posts, to create this strategy? But it's like and one example that I really love to use is like going to a gym. So, you know, suppose you only have 3 hours a week to go to the gym. If you only go to the gym once a week, what's going to be your results? If you go to the gym 5 times a week, what is going to be your results? So just figure out a schedule for yourself and stay consistent.
I need Michael on every one of my lives. He's cracking.
Me posting 1 time every 4 months.
Yeah.
Someone else said, hello, are there any other platforms other than Facebook and Instagram? Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned before, if you want a TikTok marketer, we have Michael right here. TikTok's great. I'm learning so much about it. And I think the algorithm is really interesting to learn about. I will say the demographics for people that are on TikTok are a lot younger. So if that is your target market, definitely start on there.
And maybe, I know I'm like jumping around a little bit, Sarah, but
yeah, go ahead.
We're talking about, you know, because TikTok was mentioned too now. And I've spoken to you about this quite a bit. Which, you know, it's video focused.
Video focused, yes. And you can see this with Reels as well on Instagram.
And right, saying like we're no longer a photo sharing organization, right? Like we're focusing on video. And so it's not certain things where we're almost like in the shadows. No, we know exactly because the company is communicating to us that
they're literally saying it. And for example, what's happening right now? We're on video. We're on an Instagram Live. Like there's Instagram stories, there's Reels now, there's Instagram Lives. Like video is the future. It's the present. It's not even the future anymore. It's the present.
Right. So Michael has another platform, which is interesting. And I think the question was May, who joined, who was asking about other platforms. In terms of a focus on retreats, LinkedIn is actually a great tool to use as well. But it also requires, again, it's like every algorithm is different, but also the platform has a different purpose. And so when we're talking about LinkedIn, you know, the focus is still very much written content. So every platform chooses what they want to do. And so LinkedIn is another great one where I've had a lot of success in retreat sales, but a community has to be established, and getting that community, I feel like, is harder my personal, this isn't me being
Yeah.
technical, not the social media strategist. I do the retreats,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the focus there is still written text, is what
yeah.
I'm. So it's
I
almost
think it,
like, what do you
yeah,
thrive in doing? What do you want to do? How do you want to show up?
exactly, exactly. And I think it all depends on your target market because I have had a client where he was on Instagram, but really the people that were looking for his services were on LinkedIn. So
Right.
and he really, and also what platform do you enjoy being on? So some of us will I lean towards Instagram
Mhm.
and I also lean towards TikTok. So to me, I love being on both, but some
Right.
people, they love being on LinkedIn. So, and those are probably where, if you like that and that's what your target market is, that's where they are. So that's where you should be. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes
but for retreats, I do think Instagram is
for sure.
a great platform because that's where, where are you going to look at the cool travel stuff? You're going to look at,
All of
you
the
know?
is in the one platform. Um,
Right.
maybe before we go into the next topic, I have a personal question.
Yeah.
Something comes up in my entrepreneur household all the time. And
Okay.
part of it is, so Sarah, school me. Um, I've watched some of these trends change over time. And
Okay.
what's happening is, like, as you're scrolling, right, you need to, and let's talk video specifically, you need to get engagement, and you need to get that engagement within the first few seconds. And I realize that, when I'm watching people go on video or even post, right, we can talk more, general. I'm like, wow, people are doing all these great dances and the music is important and everything. And it's like, Instagram's going to give me more of what I watch. But then I'm on the content creation side for my business. And I realize that I'm not dancing, and I'm not looking at, music trends, and I'm not doing these things. And so my question being, like, what is important? What should we focus on? And if I'm not a dancer and I don't have the hand-eye coordination skills like you do to point at different things and create,
My pointing skills. You're cracking me.
they're like perfectly timed every time.
It reminds me of the S. I don't know if anyone has watched. Sorry, it's a tidbit. Did you watch the recent SNL? Like,
No, I didn't.
oh my gosh, they make fun of that. So
Really?
everyone go watch the recent episode of SNL because you're cracking me up. But
It comes down to, how much do we focus on trends? Because
yeah,
yesterday or 2 days ago, I posted a reel where I was like, let me go and do what Sarah tells me to do, which is find a song or something that's trending, right? And let's
right,
follow it. It blew up.
right,
Or I could have just went for a song that I personally liked, and I would have stayed at, my small whatever engagement. And so what is this balance between following trends? What are the current trends? Do we need to do that? Or do we just do our own thing, show up authentically, and see if it works?
right. No, no, that's a great question, and I think the best answer for is trial and error. So
Okay.
marketing, what is marketing? Marketing is trial and error. So I do think trending sounds are important. You should follow them. You should understand. For Instagram, if you're making a reels, like before they come on Instagram, they're always on TikTok first. So always know what's coming. Um, and it's always trial and error. I think some of your videos that you're using for reels should be you authentically talking. You should be, maybe sharing some information, really relating to someone. I recently was looking at a social media marketer, and she said something that, oh, like it really got to my heart. It's like where I'm at in my business.
Hmm.
And that video, she was just talking, and maybe she had like a trending sound to help like her video in the background where she's silenced or something, and it helps like the algorithm because you always have to think about Instagram's algorithm. But since when she said it, I was like, wow, like that really, emotionally got, related to me. So I reached out to her. So things like this, it's always trial and error. You don't have to dance to be that. I feel maybe,
That was the question. Do I?
yeah. Oh,
Yes or
that
no?
was your main. Like you were like, I just don't want to dance.
Yeah.
You don't have to dance just to. No, you can share tips. There's and always scroll through and save your favorite videos that you like to see. And you can always get inspired by them and creating your own little, twist.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so one that I'll just highlight, thank you for letting me
Yeah.
know. But one thing to highlight is just showing up authentically.
Yeah,
And
for
I
sure.
seen that I actually was just on a client call right before this. We actually synchronized. We both got off of a client call the same
I know.
right before this live. And it's beautiful. Like she was just getting started on Instagram, and it's just showing up authentically, doing what works
So
for her.
important. Yeah,
It blows me away because it's like we don't have to talk about anything else because she's getting energy from showing up and being present. She
exactly.
community because I mean part of it is hashtags and there are certain things to do, but it's almost like your community is out there as a
Yeah.
leader, as a human being, like it doesn't even matter. It's anyone who has a business. And it's a matter of showing up. And one thing that she mentioned, which was interesting, was we were talking about like, there was a full moon or somebody, like everyone was posting about it. And she's like,
Yeah.
I didn't feel right to. Like, I didn't want to
Then
do that.
don't. Yeah,
And
exactly.
and I was like, okay, that is the best thing ever because if you feel like you have to do something, you're
Hmm.
not going to show up authentically. I'd rather you post the next day and post about something that really hits home to you because that's what your community wants. And her engagement is incredible. So it's really just showing up, but showing up authentically in a way that
Exactly.
instead of, drains you. Um,
Hmm.
but maybe just to round out the point, right?
Yeah.
We have to show up on video. That's a summary, Sarah.
I would say video is very, very important because especially for your retreat, um, it really depends on the industry, but since we're talking about retreat leaders, how do you suppose you're looking at a retreat and you're not understanding what you're going to get out of it. So show, and it doesn't always have to be your face. I think that's something, of course, I'm always going to, as a social media marketer, like I'm going to promote showing your face, but not every video has to be of your face. Like if they're buying your coaching, or like they're going because you're like a wellness coach, you're supposed to retreat leader, anything. Like they're buying it because of you, of course, but like show little things like you're planning out your retreat. Get them excited. Like show a video of you planning it out. Show like what you're looking at. Like, oh, I'm shopping today. I'm at the, I don't know. I don't know why Marshalls comes or Target, anywhere, you guys. I feel like I'll say Marshalls and people will be like, no, or Target. No, I don't know. But
If
wherever you are, wherever you're shopping, your favorite destination, show what you're and ask them, what is your thoughts? Like, do you like this like design or this? Like vote, like communicate, show video. And if you have a team behind you, if you have a yoga, like suppose you're the health coach and you have a yoga instructor, or I just got off a call, so like, he has a whole team, like a diving instructor. Like make sure they come on and like, show a little bit of their behind the scenes. Or in talking, get to know them because they're buying an experience. That's what's selling.
and part of what you're mentioning is what I often call retreat validation. And so
Okay.
maybe for me to just school for like 2 seconds, because this is something that I'm super passionate about, right? People come
Yeah.
with a retreat idea, we'll build it out, we'll figure out the logistics. But before anything, we need to figure out, who your ideal client is, what their obstacles are, because these are the obstacles that, Sarah, to your point, you also want to be talking about, right? There's some
Yeah.
hurdle that people are having to get over, and we want them to get over that hump. How do we do that? We need to know what the problem is, and we need to solve it with, our answers, but also the
Yep.
retreat is that transformation for them. So that's kind of,
Yeah.
you know, point one. But also, it's really important for people to get to know you because you're the brand. You're selling
Yes.
selling the experience, but it's also like you're the visionary. And unfortunately, no one else can communicate your retreat the way that you can. And so some people are incredible copywriters, and that is amazing if you can do it in text. But often it's like, no one's going to get to know you and I more, Sarah,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
this us getting on live and doing a video than if I were to just post another,
Like
post.
picture, photo.
Exactly.
Yes,
Like, you
exactly.
know what I now find funny, what I get triggered. I love Marshalls, you love Target, right? Things like, but I'm coming to a retreat. I'm paying a lot of money. It's a high ticket event. And
Yeah,
if I do that, in order to convert me, I need to feel like I'm connecting with the retreat leader and I'm connecting with the events that are happening, the yoga that
exactly.
are happening. So that makes sense,
Exactly.
right? Like just showing up.
And being consistent. Like you can't, like it's so important because you always have to, I don't want to ever say like compare or anything like that. Just know like people are investing in you
Mhm.
and they want to get to know you, and there's always going to be competitors, but what makes you unique, and like how can you get how the reason why I would buy a retreat is because I'm like, wow, this coach is really amazing. Like, or this person, this yoga, like the way she does yoga is incredible. So, but if you are just posting for 2 days and then you just, then there's other yoga instructors posting when you're looking for this exact retreat or something like that, it's going to be really, really difficult for you to convert.
Yeah. So one more thing, and then there's a question that I want to address.
Oh, yeah.
But part of it is marketing basics 101, which is if you're trying to sell something, right? Especially if you're trying to sell something that costs a lot of money, you
Yeah.
need both touch points.
Yes.
And Instagram is a great way for you to continue to engage, right? Because at some point it's like, I preach email. Email is extremely important in the retreat
Mhm.
space. So I'm not taking away from that. But let's say you sent out an email today. Cool. One touch point. Somebody learned about your retreat, something new. Then they go on social media. You just showed up on video. They're getting to know who you are. Now they had an obstacle in their head, which was like, okay, I don't think I can get away from, I don't know, my kids and family for a week. But
Yep.
you posted about your retreat and it's only a weekend. Oh, and it's also, I know exactly where it's happening, and that's 15 minutes away. All of these things, the more touch points, the more that you're building up on it, by the end of the day, and like for some people, they may just already know you and they're like, whoop, sold, buying.
Exactly. And like every single worry, you should
Yeah.
always like, okay, sit down, pen and paper, write down 7 reasons people, yeah, exactly. 7 reasons why people would not buy you would have hesitation to buy
Mhm.
your retreat. And you're gonna say what you should be doing is every single reason that you've written down, you should figure out why should I how can I convince them that this way of thinking, like, what I'm offering will help.
Yeah.
So suppose, use your example, I can't get away from the kids. Well, this retreat will give you memories for I have so many experiences where I've gone on something, and that one weekend, even though I took away time from something else, when you really want to do something, you'll make it happen. And the experience you're going to get out of this retreat will last you a lifetime. The knowledge, the relaxation, everything you'll get out of this retreat is going to, it's going to last you a lifetime. So every single reason someone could say, and do your research. You have to do your research. Like, and that's what I would do. If you'd hire me, I would do all of this research for you if you don't have the time. So you got to do your research on why people are saying, I can't do it. So
Sure. So retreat validation, surveying your community, reaching out, asking the right questions. And this is for everything. This is for ideas that you want for your retreat. It's also how
mhm.
to get it properly, right? And then how to price your retreat properly. You've got your community, ask the questions, and then you know how to show up and what to channel.
Yeah.
Um, I want to address a question that I would be totally useless at answering. So this is a Sarah question, which is think that voiceover on video without speaking to the public works? We're seeing that a lot more
Yeah.
often nowadays, right?
Are they referring to Instagram stories or reels? I think it really depends on,
I
yeah,
think
but I do voiceovers on reels all the time. I think that I tell my clients to do that. Actually, I think hearing your voices really can be such a great, beautiful thing, like, because they're really, it relates to them more. So, and as I said before, trial and error. You got to try different things. Some things that work for some brands, it does not work for others. So, it's always trial and error.
that's a good point too, right? Because we're
Right.
giving real tips, but your community is still your community. And
Exactly.
they followed you for a reason. And
Yep.
so going back to like that authenticity thing, which is you try this out, see if it
Yep.
works for you, see if it works for your community, because the beauty of this is they'll tell you. Um,
Exactly.
I didn't learn about the Instagram Insights button until recently. And so terrified. Like,
But now you know about it. So there you
now,
go.
now I know. Yeah, I mean, I'm grateful. Like a lot of my business really started off through word of mouth, and we talked about this. And I personally love email and just putting out educational content. And so I've
Mhm.
continued to do that, and that's how I primarily get my clients. But I've been seeing now, a lot of the sales calls that are coming in, you always want to ask where a referral comes from, right? Whether you're selling a retreat in any business, you want to figure out.
Oh, 100%. So you can understand.
Exactly. And so data is really, really important. And what I've actually been seeing is that people are saying, oh, okay, it's your Instagram that I came through. And so
Yay.
now it's like I go to the platform and it's like, okay, I know this insights button exists now. I need to educate myself. And so
Mhm.
maybe Sarah, like, let's talk metrics.
Okay.
Should we be using, like, what should we be looking at? What's
Yes.
important?
So
Yeah,
it really depends on your goals. So you have to realize everyone has a different goal. Like some people want more brand awareness, they want more people to learn about their brands. Some people are more focused on their brands converting more sales, right? So those are the metrics you're going to be looking at. Now let's to make this shorter, like let's think about brand awareness. So you want more people to know about your brand. So are your posts, when you're looking at them, how is the reach doing? How many people is your post reaching? You want to also come up with strategies. So for example, right now we're on a live. How well did this live do? What was the reach on this live? Was this person a good person to collaborate with? And of course, you always are. I'm not saying that. But yeah, I'm trying to give an example. So these are different things you have to look at. And if you're thinking sales, how many website clicks did you get? Like and there's a lot of analytics I can't see through Instagram, so I just have to ask, like, how many people said they, in your questionnaire came from Instagram. You should
right.
be always looking at your data and understanding your business, so you can understand your social media as well.
Okay. So that's super helpful, especially for, you know, understanding what you're working towards goals,
Yeah.
right? Part of it can also be one of your goals isn't necessarily just converting this retreat. Because a lot of what we talk about as retreats aren't necessarily like a one and done event.
Yeah.
The people that are working with retreat strategists, they're building a business. And so it may be, and this is another side question, I'm asking all of my questions today.
I love it. Just bring it on.
Part of it is also, this mindset of I'm hosting a retreat, it's coming up.
Right.
I have to make sure that my Instagram sells out all the tickets.
Right.
That is a lot of pressure to put on yourself. It's a lot of pressure to put on everyone, because just like everything else, it's one of the tools that you can use. It's not the only tool, but also it's a tool that helps scale over time. And so if you're looking to host a retreat, and we were just talking about this, right? Like in a month from today, and
Mm-hmm.
there are people where they come to me and they're like, I've got no issues. Like my community is super engaged. I know that I do not need the traditional 6 to 9 months of marketing a retreat. I can do this really fast, and they do. all it takes is they go on their social media and they post it, and they maybe repost a few more times, they've sold out.
Okay.
Well, it takes time to build out
Takes time.
your social media platform. And so maybe that's just something that we can, you know, focus on, of showing up consistently, but over, you know,
Time. Yeah. And I feel like that's something, this is why I always sell my packages in 3 months versus a shorter time. And I'm very clear if someone wants to hire me for a shorter time that it's more I'm giving the building blocks and versus and helping create the initial strategy versus you might not see long-term results. So the whole point of like getting on Instagram marketing, or any type of marketing in general, uh, there's like a fun little rule that they say that a person needs to see something 7 times before they're willing to buy.
right,
So if they've seen your like you just started social media, or you just not even social media, but you just started engaging, and you've been on like you've only promoted it twice, and maybe out of the 2 times you promoted it, they only saw it 1 time, or these are examples, but how it takes them time to see it over and over and over again, especially a high ticket price item,
right.
to decide, okay, you've I've seen this a lot. I really love this person. I think this would be great for me. I'm ready to buy.
Yeah. Okay. Makes total
Mhm.
sense. And so maybe just wrap it up and, you know, bring everything full circle, Sarah. Are there any tips that you want to share today that people can literally hop off this live and know that start implementing? Anything that you see really is working today, or just general mindset?
General tips. I will always say this is just general Instagram marketing. Start using Reels. If you haven't started using Reels, you're missing out. That's what Instagram is focusing on. They are, as they said, they're not just a photo sharing app. And when you're marketing, make sure you're authentic. So use video. Don't and be a little uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable getting on video, start slowly,
Mm-hmm.
but start talking on live, get people to really know you, and share a little bit about your retreat, why you're doing it, and don't be I know it can be scary. I mean, even this Instagram live, I'm we everyone gets nervous,
Yeah,
but
it's
it
natural.
the, it's natural. Yeah, public speaking is not always an easy thing, but or getting on camera. But the more you do it, eventually by the 20th time, you'll finally start feeling, oh, I've done this 20 times and I did great. I can do this 21 more times.
Yeah, and the one thing that I will say, and again, this came up recently, is Instagram has, you know, its own little quirks. And
Yeah.
part of that, and just like when you write an email, and I'm going to bridge these two together, right? If something is perfectly curated, sometimes you also think to yourself, like, okay, that's too staged, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay to have a typo in an email. It's okay. Yesterday, you were so cute. I went on live to talk to my community, and all of a sudden, my mom called me 100 times back. So I was like, okay, I have to shut down for a
Yeah.
second. You were the only person that joined, and then I came back up. If you
Yeah.
feel pressure about making something perfect, you're never going to do it.
Yeah.
Human. I was like, okay, that was total fail. Hey, mom, what do you need? And she's like, turn on the vacuum. I was like, oh my God, really? Like that's why I had so many calls. But the truth is like, you just show up again. And no one's expecting you to be perfect. They're expecting to be you. And what's really, really important, you know, you're covering this really, really well from a social media standpoint.
Hmm.
I'll elevate it to just, you know, showing up authentically. I'd rather have one person who follows me, who is
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
engaged, who loves what I'm saying and really is taking something away from it, than me posting for 100 people trying to be super, super perfect and curated. But those aren't people who are going to buy my retreat. They
No.
aren't with, you know, with my quirks. And so part of it is just show up, be authentic. So I love, love, love what you're saying, Sarah.
Yeah, definitely. That's I think the most important takeaway is just I wanted to really address the mindset. Like just, sometimes it's just post. Just don't overthink it. Just don't be afraid. I know that it can be scary or you might I know, I understand.
Right.
But over time, it's just like with anything else you do in life, like once you do it the first time, the second time, the third time, it gets easier and easier and easier. And then eventually I'll be watching you do all these Instagram stories and reels and
Awesome.
I'll be like, I'm going on the retreat now.
Yeah. No, no, and that's exactly how.
Exactly.
And so maybe, and I know your community, because of how you show up, knows you really, really well. I also feel like I have the privilege of having 24/7 access to you on. So
Same bag, same bag.
I know,
I do
like,
have to give a shout out to you as well. I use.
yeah, thinking like, okay, I get 24/7, which I'm super, super lucky. I should implement more. But the people that are tuning in, today, who I really want to get your name out there and share you, because
Thank you.
how can they reach you, Sarah? What are you offering? How do you generally work? Like, just a quick, overview of
Yeah,
your
yeah,
show.
of course. Yeah, so you can reach me, of course, on here, Sarah Prentice. I'm always in the DMs, so feel free if you even have like a little question, you can always ask. As you can tell, I'm very talkative. Also, I do have a website, sarahprenticestudio.com, and what I'm doing is I'm offering full Instagram marketing. So I have 3 different packages. You can go on my website, check them out. I post, I engage, and I take the stress of figuring out a social media marketing strategy and an Instagram marketing strategy off your plate. And I'm doing all the research. That is what I'm doing. And I'm launching coaching. So I do have a coaching client as well, but I'm really excited because it is going to be more need to, if you're like, oh, I don't need someone that does everything for me, but I'm very confused about how to still do, implement Instagram marketing, then coaching is a much better option for you because I can go ahead, look at your Instagram, look at what would be the best strategy for you and teach you. So that is another service I'm offering as well, which I love doing both. I love doing both, and it really you have to decide on what would best work for you. And I love what I do is I love helping people. That is one of the reasons I love having retreat clients is I'm very passionate about health. I love yoga. I love all about retreats. So it's definitely a passion, and I'm very happy to work with you, Victoria, in this.
Thanks. Likewise, Sarah. So not only does she love doing this stuff, she's also super, super great at it.
Oh, thanks.
Someone actually mentioned if you can share your website, Sarah.
Yeah,
So
of
if you
course.
do that.
Yeah,
It,
actually, instead of me putting in the comments, I will, when we repost this live, I'll put it in the comments, and then also, I will go ahead and DM you. So, or send me a DM. I'll just share it right there.
Perfect. Sounds good. I think we've went through all the questions. If anyone has anything that comes up, either from a social media, strategy perspective, you've got Sarah. If you've got questions specific to your retreat, you've got me.
You got, yes. And I know you've talked about me, so I have to talk about Victoria. How can there's so many words I want to say on how much you have helped me with my
Aw.
business. I just feel I could get like so emotional over this. She is the way you are so organized, the way you strategize, the way you, even with my own personal business, like that you guys are kind of seeing like a behind the scenes of all of our voice messages of me
Yeah.
talking about marketing, and she's always talking about, okay, like how about we market and business. So the way she strategizes, the way she can organize things, absolutely incredible. reach out to her as well. And if you want to talk about your website as well.
Oh, I literally am Sarah. Thank you. I love your are. Yeah, you can always find me Retreat Profits pretty much anywhere. Like I'm on most platforms. Similarly to Sarah, if you have questions, this is kind of my bread and butter of the way that I work. Reach out. I'm
Yes.
happy to answer anything. If you need to get on a call, we can. That's kind of just the best way that I work. You can go to the link in my bio on Instagram where I have a bunch of free tools available. So if you're just getting started planning your retreat, we can always get on a call, but you can also have an entire checklist and timeline already built out for you. So hopefully those are some incredible tools that people can just start using right away. Oh, thanks, Faye. I really appreciate it.
I was about to say, you got a comment. She is the best.
On that note, Sarah, thanks for joining. Thanks for taking the time.
Yes. Thank you for
All
having me.
you're not close. I'm in the States now.
I
This
I
is
know.
this is the social media.
What?
I said this is the beauty of social media.
I know, and we're able to connect this way. But hopefully, I will see you soon. I'm planning, to visit New York. I already know, but I'll tell you later. So hopefully, we'll see you soon, and maybe we can do a live in the same place.
For sure. I hope
Yeah.
so. Thanks,
There you
everybody.
go.
Thanks,
All
Sarah.
right.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.